But I'm going to go ahead and set up my drawing, and then I'll come back up here and look and see who's joined me. So we're going to do a dragon drawing today. And I am going to clear that layer. And I'm going to start with just going to wait for a few people to get on here. It's a beautiful night. Okay, still waiting for some people to show up. This is super basic. And I see someone has shown up. So what I'm working on tonight is I am going to draw a dragon, and I'm roughing out my space. That's all I'm doing right now. And I'm going to lighten up this layer. I'm using an iPad. Adobe Fresco is the program. And I'm going to lighten up this layer and start actually drawing now that I know where I want to draw. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I am going to go ahead and start with a wet brush. Actually, I'll start with a pencil, and I'll go with a green. And I'm going to draw a dragon. This dragon originally was something that I used to draw when I did when I was at the booth at my children's fairs at school, and I was volunteered as a parent to paint faces. And this is one of the things I would paint on people's faces. Okay. I'm gonna have that go a little bit lighter. So I'm going to darken this up pretty soon. I just want to get it roughed in though. Whoopsie. Let's get some basic ideas of where things are going to be. I'm going to go like this down here. Okay. Okay, so we're going to move in here and start with a darker brush, a more refined, darker. And we'll just start with his mouth. Why is that so light? Let's go with an oil paint. Oil. Oh, I know why. I have to start a new layer. All right, here we go. We're good now. 100% transparency. We can go back up to a little bit lighter green. I can go back to my pencil. And here we go. Got to give him a good nostril. And plenty of room for his eye. And before I move on to other parts, I think I'm going to work on this head a little bit. There's a nostril. Go to a yellow to do his teeth. I'm going to do one short tooth first, and then his incisor. And he's got some bottom teeth. Okay, I just want to look on here. It looks like I've got quite a few people on here. Joel, hi. Kayla, hello. And hi, I see a rainbow name that I cannot pronounce. And Najib, hello, thank you. The art is just starting. It looks pretty thrown together right now, but we're gonna keep working on it. So we got the teeth roughed in. I'll go back and I'm going to go back to that green. I've got a palette starting down here now. So we're gonna go here with the eye. That's interesting. I don't know what's going on there. So I'm gonna come back and color that all in a bit. He's got a nice strong jaw, and we're going to put some dragony decorations coming off from him. And I always have to make sure I put where the arm is coming in early on, because I forget it sometimes. And then I get carried away and, oops. Somehow my color changed. Let me go back to my green. Kind of like to go fast with those so that they remain nice and sweeping, which is actually easier to do on paper than it is on here, especially when you're trying to work around a tripod that's holding your phone camera. It's right where my elbow wants to be. So let me go back and try that again. I'm going to try it from this direction. I want it to sweep up. And let me turn off this back layer to see how I like that. I think I'm going to leave that back layer off now. I'm actually good with that. Okay, I got a thumbs up from someone. Thank you so much. And I have Trogdor. Okay, gotta look up Trogdor. Scorpion Skills. Hello. And Jamie, I'm gonna have to look up Trogdor. So I definitely know that I want to put a point on the end of his tail. Let's go back up here. and make sure that I have room for that. And I think I'm going to have this dragon holding something, and I'm not sure what he's going to be holding. I'm going to work that out before we end here. Haven't quite figured that out yet, but I will figure it out. If nothing else, he's giving you a thumbs up, which I would love for you to give me. Let's erase this little mark here. Thanks everybody for stopping by. I hope you'll stay for a while. I really hope that you'll subscribe so we can connect in the future. Okay. I'll go back to my yellow color. Add some. That was a little wobbly. Okay. Next, we're going to do some scale, not scales. I'm going to add some spines. Move back to green. Okay, that was the biggest one. They're going to start getting smaller now. And I was afraid of that, so I got to work on this a little bit. I'm going to have one come in just like that and go out. Go out like that and then go like that. Roughly. Okay, I got to come back and fix that. So this one, it's going to be like that. I'm going to go over and paint these again. This one needs some help. Help, fix me. Okay, there we go. And just to make it clear what I'm doing here, I'm just going to take out a couple lines here and there. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna go in here and just check the comments. Consummated V's, interesting. Ooh, muscle bicep. Okay, you're on. I'm doing it. I'm gonna add some muscle bicep. I have no idea what to say about the Trogdor thing because I don't follow that. I'm not a Trogdor person, but I'll be looking him up after this. And I just want you. You're still on here. Godat. Is it Godat? There's a distinct lack of muscle bicep. You're right. This dude is gonna get a little bit stronger like right now. Just saying. There's his forearm. So we need a little bit of eraser work going on here so that everybody's clear on what's actually happening with this guy's arm. We now have this is a muscular armed. But this is a very nice, sweet dragon, and he is taking some beautiful flowers to his mother. His fire breathing dragon mother. Okay, so we've got a good start here, I think. I just want to see if I got any more comments. I don't see anybody saying anything else. Thanks for the thumbs up. Would love to have a few people more subscribing. I try and do these lives fairly often now. I'm new to this. This is new for me. But I'm finding that I'm actually connecting with a lot more people by doing these lives. So I appreciate any thumbs up you want to give me. If you want to follow me, that would be fabulous. And I can't, like, the phone is like this far. You can't see my hands. At least like double that, or maybe 1.5 times that distance up from my drawing pad. So my eyes are down here and you're commenting way up here. So I might miss it. But I do stop every once in a while to take a break and check my comments. So please do leave comments. I will get around to reading them. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and give this guy a colorful eye. Let's go with a dark purple. And right now I'm going to stay with colored pencils. Okay, so that center is going to be black. So I want to brighten this up a little bit because I want some contrast between the parts of the eye. The pupil is going to be black, this elongated pupil, and the iris is this purpley color. So I'm going to put the black in there and see if there's enough contrast between the two. So I definitely want the black to stand out. I think there is. I'm also going to take the black up here and create a very definite lid. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to an oil paint short because it is a blending brush that I really enjoy using, and so that I can do some interesting things with colors. Just going to go with just a little bit of yellow because he is a dragon after all. I don't know that I want his eyes to be like perfectly white around the edges. So I'm going to go with that kind of a yellowy white. And I'm going to go back and do some blending with that purple as well. Go a little bit lighter. Oops. Love the back button. This is Adobe Fresco is my program. I am working on an iPad with an iPencil. You can also do this. Adobe Fresco, I think, works on phones if you have a stylus for your phone. And Fresco works with Wacom Tablet, which is a tablet that plugs into a computer. That's a less expensive setup. It's very specialized just for drawing, but it costs like 1/4 the amount of an iPad. Okay, so I really appreciate all the people who've come by. Kevin Mack, hello, nice to see you again. Floor 619, hello. I think this is a safe space. I will do everything that I can to make this a safe space for you. I appreciate that you care about that, and I will definitely do my very best. Okay, go back working on the eye. And we're going to make that a little finer. I have to be careful that I don't block what I'm doing with my hand. The camera, I noticed I was looking back at my lives just because I have to know how it's coming across, and I noticed that I'd get really into the drawing and my hand would be blocking it and you couldn't see. So I apologize if that happens. I'm going to try and not let that happen. Okay. White in an eye is super important, but also you want to be pretty exacting with where you put that white. So let's just do a couple things here. I'm just going to go ahead and add a bit of an eyeliner underneath this eye. But I'm also going to switch over to white. Now it's going to start blending pretty quickly with the rest of the colors when I add this white. It's just doing a light, sort of a light edge of the lid down here. That's what I'm actually trying to do. Ooh. And Do a little blending right there. Okay, we'll go back and grab my light green. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just blend this a little bit first. I'm going to add another layer, and that's where I'm going to put a more definite white line as sort of a reflection of how a wet eye might look. It's pretty subtle. I'll go back to my eye layer. And add some black in here. Well, at this rate, it might take me a while, so I'm going to move on here. Just check the comments really, really quick. Cora, thank you so much. Quite a few comments came in, so I want to read them real quick. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. Hi, Kevin. Bye, Blue Floor. Hi, Lily. Grace and Charlie. Not sure what you're saying there. Thank you, Cora. Loves the art, thank you. Kevin Mack recently viewed another artist drawing koi fish. Studying koi in Chinese mythology, dragons were koi fish that successfully navigated the Dragon's Gate currents of the Yellow River. Oh, interesting. I'm going to read up on that. Very cool. I love grilled cheese, Mr. Play. Okay, thanks for that comment, Kevin. Really super interesting. I love researching. When I was in art school years ago, I joined this artist. So I was in college, trying to get my degree in art, and I joined this special workshop. I'd get extra credits to do it, but it was expensive and I had to travel to do it. So it was kind of a big deal. And one of the things that, I'm going to go here to the wet brush. Let me go back, do that again. One of the things that he had us doing was, it was before cell phones. Let's see, was it before cell phones? Let me think about that. Yeah, it was before cell phones. People had beepers, believe it or not. They had beepers that they would wear for business calls. And some people had car phones at that time. But nobody had a cell phone that they walked around with. And so we were down, the school was down in, it was in Winter Garden, right outside of Disney Land or World. I always forget which one is in Florida. I think it's Disney World in Florida, where anyway, Epcot is down there and Disney is down there. And this particular professor who offered these special classes, he had worked at Disney like for a really short time, but he loved everything about Disney and thought that Disney was a really actually quite a brilliant, amazing, creative guy. And he trained a lot of artists, and some of those artists ended up working for Disney. And so his studio where we go to is right outside of Winter Garden, and I'm totally going to lose my point because I'm drawing and telling a story at the same time. And what was it I wanted to tell you about? Oh, Kevin, your research. So we didn't have cell phones, and we were all illustrators. We were all trying to get our studies completed in illustration. And so a big thing in illustration is like you really got to know the style of what you're doing. Yes, you can be, kind of, you definitely should be creative. You can get very painterly, but for you to know art history and to know culture was super important, because if you got hired to do a job and they said, we need this to be in the style of Art Nouveau because it's a French bakery, you really need to understand what Art Nouveau means and what that means in terms of a line or whatever. Or if you got hired to do a job to illustrate a children's book about, a Norse myth, well, you need to understand what that Norse myth was about. And, you have to research. So what he had us doing was we made scrapbooks of things that were helpful in art. We would cut out pictures of famous artists, from any resource we could find, magazines, whatever. We'd buy very lightweight little books, little stamp collections, anything that would show historical art genres, and we'd carry it around in our backpacks, and then he'd put us all in a van, drive us to Epcot or Disney, and let us loose for the day. And he'd say, "All right, go draw everything you see, and do it in a style. Find a good style. Use your resources." And so that's how I was trained in art. It was before the internet, and it was all books and studying books and making scrapbooks of notes that you would use as reference. Okay, I'm going to stop talking, and thank goodness this was simple to just color in all these triangle teeth while I was telling that story. Anyway, that teacher's name was Dave Pasalacqua. I know that he's got some grown children alive still, and I'm sure he's got some of his students out there still working, because there were some that were younger than me. Some of them might be retired. I'm sure they're all still making art, though, every single one of them. I can't imagine that they would quit. Thank you for all the thumbs up. Oh gosh, don't worry about your spelling errors, Kevin. I'm not worried about it. And I am going to get back to, yes, I agree. I'm going to get back to drawing, so I won't be looking. I got to open the door here. It's really warm all of a sudden. I'll be right back. Make sure my heat was off because I'm opening up my door. Okay, I think it's time to start painting this dragon. And so I want to do some kind of different things tonight. I'm going to create a new layer here. See, I'm going to merge this one down, merge down, create a new layer. And I am going to I'm going to lasso all of this So I'm using the lasso tool, And what this is going to do, it's going to create a border because I want to do some specialty kind of painterly things here. And then I think I don't want it to paint in this eye. So I'm going to also put a border around that. Okay, so now I'm going to choose a watercolor. I'm leaving oil. I'm going back to watercolor. I'm going to go first with a yellow. And I'll go pretty big with the brush. Oops, that's an oil paint. That's not a watercolor. Let me get the watercolor. Watercolor. There we go. Oh, it's spilled in where that eye was. Okay, well, I'm on another layer, so I can erase it. But as far as the rest of this goes, see, it's not covering up the teeth. The yellow here stayed separate. I can erase it from the top of this eye, and it's gonna go there. And all within the little dashed lines that you see there. And I'll show you in a minute why I want to do this. So now I'm going to go back to a medium green. I'm going to make a much smaller brush. And I'm going to start just making, this is experimental. I have actually barely practiced with this idea. And now I'm going to get a spatter brush, and I'm going to go even darker with the color. Oh, let me go up one layer. And you see how it's all staying inside of that. Okay, so now let's use an eraser on this layer and clean up around that eye. There we go. Yay. That's just laying down sort of an interesting texture. I don't know, you know, it may stay, I may work it into something else later. We'll see. Now I'm going to try an experiment. I don't know what's going to happen here. So I'm on this layer and no, I want to be on, really? Is that it? That is it. Okay. So now I'm going to try and go on the outside of that. I don't think it'll let me. I think I have to go, no, it won't let me go on the outside. So I'm going to turn it off. Deselect. And I am going to go back to the oil paint. We'll make his ear. Oh, interesting. I didn't actually mean to do that. Well, I'll let it stay. Actually, let me add a few more spatters. Go up to this. Okay. Okay. Thanks everybody for hanging in there. Really appreciate it. Oh, I gotta plug in my phone so we don't lose connection here. My battery's getting low. Oh, I do have some old illustrations. So Kevin is asking a few questions here. Uh, yeah, internet's amazing. And do you still have your illustrations from past? Always like the comparison of past versus present. I do have illustrations from the past, and I'll do a show and tell sometime. I think when I get a little bit larger audience and I'm better with YouTube, like I haven't even figured out how to schedule things yet. Like I'm that new to the whole YouTube live. So once I figure out a few things, I will probably do exactly what you're suggesting. Okay, thanks for all the thumbs up, and please stay connected with me by subscribing. Okay, this is going to move along here. I am going to. I'm just going to merge. No, I'm not. I'm not doing it. I'm going to go here to this layer and go back to the oil paint. There we go. And I'm going to go back to a lighter green, even a little bit lighter. I want that ear to be highlighted. And do the same thing here. Okay. I hear a dog. I don't know if you can hear a dog. My neighborhood probably calling for his owner to come home. Okay. All right, we're going to add some details up here. And I think I'm just about ready to start. Oh, not quite. I'm not quite ready. Don't do it yet, Maggie. All right. Probably do a little cleanup here. Make sure you can see what's going on. And we're going to go to a lighter green here. So I'm painting on a layer underneath my spackle layer. So here's my spackle layer. Here's another painted spackle layer. And then here's my actual painted layer that I'm working on right now. I'm gonna go back and grab some of that yellow and, whoa, wait a minute, wait a minute. Get rid of that and blend that in a little bit. Sometimes with oil, I end up like going back over it a few times because I blend my colors more than I want, and I lose some definition. I can actually go in here and use a little just basic blender right in here. That works pretty well actually. Okay. Go back here and grab some. So interesting how it doesn't want to grab what I want it to grab sometimes. Just going to lay some of this color down. And then blend it. And I might do a little cleanup. Oh, interesting what's happening here. Somehow it popped on. I knew something was going on with my paint. Okay, we're merging down now. We're doing it. Merging down. Except for the spackle. I'm not merging the spackle. Okay, now when I erase, I'm going to get everything. Okay, I like how this looks here. I'm gonna add a little bit here. What do I have? I have a yellow. That's all right. Let's. All right, I'm gonna go back up here to the spackle layer because it's sort of floating on top of everything else. And I am going to add some white to the eye so it looks like it's reflecting the sun, which would be up here. There we go. That's better. And maybe just a little bit more white here. There. I feel better about that. I'm going to add a little bit of white to his teeth. And then I'm going to step back and look at it. I have to get away from stuff sometimes. Okay, I need to do some definition around here. This may be a part 1 and a part 2, depending on how many people join. Thanks for everybody who's hanging in here. I might finish it tonight. We'll see how it goes. Dark green. Let's put some definition on the outside here. I'm going to let his lips sort of hang down around those a little bit. They're not particularly smooth. Yeah, kind of like that. Now we need to do this really super cool nostril here. Yay. I'm actually going to go in here and add a little bit of white. That'll blend. And I'm going to blend it. Oh, too wide. Back up. Let's make that a little smaller. See more what I'm doing. It's kind of weird to mix the oil paint with the watercolor. Not sure how I feel about it. I'm experimenting a bit, which I do on this channel a lot. I basically, just so you know, for prep work, like I have drawn, because I mentioned in the very beginning, the first time I drew this little dragon was years ago without the muscles, for just as a motif for painting on children's faces, and I didn't have him holding a flower. He was just a dragon with his arms sticking out. And so I've drawn this dragon off and on for many years. That's the only preparation I did for this. Otherwise, I'm completely winging it, and I didn't even do a pre-drawing for this one. Sometimes I'll do a pre-drawing if I'm drawing something I haven't done before, just so you know, that you might see me make big errors on this channel, because it's live and I experiment. It's like, you know, the old days when they had live TV. It's like going to a show where they can goof up. Okay. I want to go with, I think I'm going to do some layering of watercolor for a change. So let's go back and grab some watercolor, and we'll do that one. And we'll start with a light color. Yeah. Some of the spackle is on the same layer, not all of it. You don't really want those two touching. I'm going to go with a little bit wider because I want to get that sweeping color feeling again. All right, I got a little bit out of control down there, so I'll probably do a little cleanup. Sometimes I really like the painterly thing, and other times, you know, where things really lose control, and other times I'm like, no, I gotta control that. It's kind of silly. It happens though. So we'll go back down to a really narrow, whoops, that's an eraser. Narrow brush. That helps me. I'm going to just take a moment after I finish this little tail detail here. Ah, look at it go, all running into each other. It's out of control. It's okay. It's amazing how this really works the way watercolor does on paper, because I have done a ton of watercolor on paper, and I really like that that they've really figured out how to make these programs feel like you're working with water and pigment. Okay. Yeah, seahorse, dragonfish, interesting. Shallow spike, no? Question mark. Let's see here. Let me go up here. I missed some comments. I don't wanna. Shallow spike. You're saying all sorts of crazy little things. Sorry, not gonna delete my drawing. Oh, Eric, looks like your cat. Wow. You must have a really cool looking cat. Whoops. Wow, a lot of comments in here. Thank you everybody for commenting. Thanks for all the likes. Would love to connect with you again. Even if you want to donate me $10 to delete my drawing, Shallow Spike. Go ahead and subscribe. Everybody's welcome. Alothera, creepy girl. I love it. Thank you. Lavender. Will I delete my drawing? Oh, you know, that's a great question, because I used to sculpt snow. And oh, don't get mad. Um, I used to sculpt snow, and and that was in Alaska at a festival. And I'm reading comments and trying to tell a story. I need to stop doing that and just tell the story. Hi, Lavender, you're back. Okay, so what I was going to tell you was, because there's the comment from somebody who I think is trying to make a little trouble for me, which is kind of hilarious, because we're on YouTube and you can't really do that. But it makes me think of a story, because he's offering me $10 to delete my drawing, which, why would you want to delete this cute little dragon? And it reminds me of when I sculpted snow in Alaska, which I did for a few years in a row when I lived up there. And they provide you with, the city would put this huge festival together called For Rendezvous in Anchorage, Alaska. And they provide you with 8 foot by 8 foot by 8 foot cubes of snow. And they basically would put up these forms, big wood forms on 4 sides, and then they would take dump trucks and equipment, and they would fill it full of snow. They would dump the snow inside the form, and then they'd remove the forms, and you'd have this 8 foot by 8 foot by 8 foot tall block of snow. And then you would have a week-ish to carve your drawing, or carve your sculpture out of snow. And there was lots of people who did it, and so I did it with, we were one of the only all-girl teams that carved snow, and we actually went to nationals one year. But the thing about it that reminds me of that comment is we would sculpt for 8 days these gorgeous sculptures. Everybody would do it, and then they would bulldoze them over at the end. And so that's kind of like deleting your drawing. I'm used to that kind of thing. It's quite a challenge, though, for me to delete my drawing. I don't know that I'm going to. Thanks for reminding me of that great story, though, about sculptures that get bulldozed. And I think that's the case in most sculptures that you see around the world, ice and snow sculptures. The reason they do it is because it's in a public place, and when the festival is over, you know, those sculptures are dense and they don't melt quickly necessarily. And they'll fall. And so because they're in a public place, then it becomes sort of a hazard actually to, I'm gonna have to come in and highlight that to bring the muscle back. They become kind of a hazard. And so, yeah, I'm gonna lose that detail. Okay, that's okay. We'll come back and we'll pick it up in a different way later. I just want to get in here with a small brush up here so I don't do a big blob. Maybe I'll go with the darkest green for around here. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do right here. Yeah, they would actually put guards at the sculptures because people would have to go home and sleep, you know, and lots of people wanted to come through and see everything while it was being carved. So it was open to the public the whole 8 days from beginning to end while you're carving. And people would come by and watch you carve. But also, they had guards to keep people off the sculptures because kids, you know, they want to have fun. They want to climb, and it could be super dangerous if they climb on something that's fragile, and you know, and then the child would fall and maybe hurt themselves. At the worst, I mean, at the best is maybe they wouldn't get hurt, but they'd ruin the sculpture. So they actually had guards. Okay, I'm liking this. It's working. And I'm going to go with a little bit bigger so I don't lose the spackle down there. I like that spackle. Show you what I'm talking about. I'm losing it a little bit there. It's okay. What's going on here? Huh, look at that. I have a white spot. I don't know what that is. I'll have to track that down. That's the downside of working with layers, is sometimes kind of goofy things happen and you can't find it. You accidentally erase something. Like there's all sorts of wacky things that happen when you work with computer painting that doesn't happen on paper. For instance, I'm going to go up here and I'm just going to take this little eraser button and see if I can, there it was. It was on that layer up here. So we'll go back here. I think I'm actually going to, I'm going to finish this on this layer, and then I'm going to make a new layer for the spines and for the chest armor. So back to paint. It's working pretty good. Just gonna step back from this. His eye looks kind of crazy, I think. I wonder if I need to tone that down a little bit. Thank you, that pink gorilla. How kind of you. So I've got a lot of comments here. Bye, Lavender. That pink gorilla girl. Hello. That pink gorilla. Not girl, that pink gorilla. Deadpool. I'm Deadpool. Hi, Deadpool. Deadpool, you're talking to yourself a little bit. Okay, thanks for the comments. Thanks for all the thumbs up. Would love to have people subscribe and follow me, and I will get back to painting. If you subscribe, we'll be able to connect again. I'll show up on your feed or something like that. All right, what's next? Okay, a little white spot there. We'll blend that. We're gonna make a new layer. It's gonna go behind this layer. Yes, behind, it's gonna go behind the main green body. There we go. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is actually go, how do I want to do this? I think first things first. This little gap here is bothering me. So I'm going to go back to this drawing here. And I'm going to go back up here and grab my pencil, recent pencil. And the color needs to be that green color here. Oops, what layer am I on? I think I'm on the right layer. Same here. Okay. It's quiet. Thanks, folks, for hanging with me. Whoops, I'm a little off center. Put it where you can see it. Okay, just wanted to get those points defined before I switch to another layer so I can come back to those points later. We'll go back here and go to a little bit lighter color. Do another round. You'll see why I'm kind of building this up and I'm using the layers to kind of separate so I don't lose control on the spines. Can always go back, merge all the layers later and do some blending. I can also clean it up later with an eraser around the edges. I may go a little bit further with this darker one here to create contrast with that. Now I'm going to go to the yellow and I'm going to start blending. And remember, I've got a layer, it's behind this green one, so it's going to blend with the green I just painted, but it's not going to blend with this body paint because it's on a separate layer right behind. I'm hoping that if anybody's on here that is trying to learn how to use their iPad, that they're able to, or a digital painting program, they're able to pick up some tips from what I'm doing here. I don't explain everything. I probably talk too much, but I explain some as I go. A lot of it is you can just see what happens. So you know what to try, and when you go and do this yourself, you'll be like, I know there's a way to make those blend together and have another part hold its color. How do I do that? Because you'll know it's possible to do it. And there's so much more that's possible because I've played with digital on and off my whole life, but I'm not, like, I've not produced, I've only sold a couple digital paintings because I've just always worked in with real tactile things that were not digital for years. Digital is super fun for me at this point. I love doing it because it's not what I'm used to. Okay. All right, it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna just, I'm gonna figure out how to, I'm probably gonna have to, I need to like dull this down a little bit. It's just a little bit too bright. So I was in this purple here. I'm gonna gray it out over here. Whoops, I don't know what that was. Let's go to this right here. And let's go to an oil paint short. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna finish graying out half of the eye. I'm gonna roll out and see if that helps me. Yes. Yes, okay. I think what I can do is leave a little bit of purple accent in there in the center. I'm gonna gray out most of this. It was just it was like distracting. It was so bright. I love color. If you follow me at all, you know I love color. But there's a time when color can be too much. Ooh, I'm liking it. So these light areas here, I'm gonna make those stand out by putting in a dark background. So I'm not gonna worry about them too much just yet. I think we're gonna move on and work on this little flower. I had someone call it a lotus flower, which is sweet. I would say that it's more like a prehistoric tulip. I'm not sure. It's not really a lotus, but I get the reference. Thank you for that. Okay. Oh, bye, Kevin. Yes, have a wonderful evening. So glad you come on. You're such an encouraging person. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the thumbs up. I'm gonna finish this flower and the background, and we'll be calling it an evening in a little while, but we're not quite done. So might as well just take that purple that I just did in the eye, and let's continue that. What layer am I on? I'm on the right layer, okay. We'll do that purple. Actually, stop, Maggie. We're gonna do this instead. I'm gonna put the purple at the base and the bright color coming out to the tip. So here we go. We have a base there. And we have a base here. And then we'll go with a slightly lighter base. Let's see, now let's go darker. We'll go with a slightly darker base right here, just so we get some difference between the petals. Yep, that works. Okay, now we're going to go find that really bright. Ooh, look at that. There it is. So this paintbrush again is an oil paint short, and when I keep my pencil down on the surface and I don't pick it up, it really blends. As soon as I pick it up and go tap tap tap, it puts down more of the fresh color that I'm trying to make happen. So you can kind of play around with that once you know how it works. Let's just clean that up right now.